So lately I've been feeling like everything's kind of just whirling into the center of some crazy ass whirlpool. And then I reflect on it, and I think I always catch myself feeling like I'm falling when I'm actually just getting high or worrying about something. Um, it's just hard not to pay attention to how connected everything feels. But when I reflect on the nature of what's happening inside of my body, I know that, like, the way that your bones fuse together and your brain kind of, um, you know, it reinforces the circuitry of its own self in such a way to solidify your beliefs and to perpetuate your behaviors, stuff like that. Right now, my mind feels kind of like there's like a clog in it, kind of like a plug, and there's lots of stuff I want to talk about. Feeling very depersonalized, like everything's moving around me, and I don't know, I've always wanted it to slow down. People are all rushing around, but it's also necessary to them. They think I'm crazy for wanting to spend the whole day and just draw or, you know, do nothing. But I'm always doing something. I really am. I'm really like this frog I drew. Just really digging in. He might be the favorite I've ever drawn, honestly. One thing I wrote down when I finish this whole project, you'll see me write it on the book later, or maybe not. I don't think I got a shot of it. But I wrote on the cover of that whole booklet of Bristol paper that you're seeing me draw, I wrote, "Art is meant to change." So it's meant to change you. If anyone ever asks you what art is, just say it's something that changes you. It's like an expression. It can be in a photograph or in the way someone makes pancakes, you know? If you put your energy into it, it will change someone. Because, like, even though I really like my paintings, I don't know if I like a painting more than a stack of really, really good pancakes. Does that make sense? I think that by other people's standards, I come off as withdrawn, but I'm really just the kind of person who, like, talks to cats and actually remembers things about them and knows how each one likes to be petted and how they like to play and stuff. Just because I'm, like, not talking doesn't mean there's not a billion thoughts kind of plummeting through my head, or like just like feels so loud sometimes. I don't really know how to describe it. I often feel like it's hard to hear someone, but it's because what's happening in my head is so loud. I feel like I'm just going deaf or something at this point. It's getting hard to hear what people are like saying to me, even if I'm just ordering food at a restaurant. I'll just have to kind of act like I'm hearing what people are saying. And it's not the worst thing, but the worst part is honestly not even the fact of like not hearing what they're saying. It's the fact that they can tell that something's off because they said something to me, and I'm like, my body language is like responsive, but I don't actually know what to say. So I just kind of nod and go, yeah, like, it's sick. Or like, I just try to, it's kind of like a defense mechanism, I guess. I'm like trying to mask the fact that I can't hear, but often like what will happen is if I ask someone to repeat themselves, they'll repeat themselves and like I won't hear what they said again, so it makes things even more awkward. But I don't know, I still feel like I hear well enough to like do most things. Just not like a big part of my day will be spent alone, to be honest, or like with friends and family. I used to like going out and just being out a lot, and I think I will when I can finally travel. But I don't know, I'm happy in here. I feel like a lot of really good reasons to be here. So much work to be done, so many shows to play, and music to make, and just days to like enjoy, honestly. It feels like the connection is so strong, it's not even worth mentioning individual ones because there's like a flow at play that I almost interrupt by verbalizing it. And that's pretty out there, but I know that you guys trust me. I don't just say shit like, this is really what I believe. I can feel like anxious about shit, like negative thoughts. More specifically, like assuming everything bad is gonna happen. Like if I hear a loud noise, I just kind of go to the more scary, like, outcome of what it probably is. This is not most times, but I feel like my mind is super active, so it'll happen a lot, even though I won't outwardly react. I'm having like a really significant kind of heart skipping a beat type feeling. And I just thought now that like the ghosts having like weird faces and funny faces and funny haircuts is kind of like me making fun of myself. I don't know, some of them are just classic ghosts, but you know, they're screaming. Some of them are kind of just done, kind of vacant stare in some of them. But I feel like, I don't know, I'm just trying to draw vortexes and like different planes of existence. Not trying to get you to question yours or anything. I'm just like pretending the canvas is a little window or like a photograph. And I feel like I want to maximize that illusion. Like actually look at every part of the photo. Like, you know how like any photo will have like a unaccountable kind of ephemera either on the side or the very center. It's just like whatever's not in focus. Like if you kind of isolated it, you could understand like why it would be hard for anything to like identify what that is, what it's like an angle or like a blur or like a blotch kind of like formless shape. That's kind of like what I like playing with, is like I found like rubbing my fingers into the painting gives pretty good results. Like makes something look instantly older, and I like the kind of the contrast of making like a piece of art look older somehow. Just like you could burn it or like I don't know, just do something to it, like fingerprints, or scrape it on some concrete. I don't know, just like playing with the age, playing with the sense of time or sense of perspective.
It's right there, baby. It's right there. I wonder if I can make it go big. Boom! What up?
It's my niece's birthday. She's 1 now.
Happy birthday, sweet angel.
Just kind of not thinking. You're not assuming. You're not making conjectures and stuff like that. You're just drawing. You will draw human shit. Doesn't matter. It's like people like think they have to decide what they're gonna draw before they're drawing it. They should just do what feels good and looks good. You know, just do what looks good. It's not that hard. You might have to lower your standards a bit at the beginning because you're like, okay, like this blue rectangle looks good, but what can I make it into? Like, can I make it into a nice cold like mug of like root beer float or something? Like you can deepen everything. You can go from 2D to 3D back to 2D. Just make sure you look at every detail, every corner, every like angle. It's important. You have eyes for a reason. You might not be able to see forever. You might not be able to hear forever. So like, just enjoy it while you've got it. You've got it. There's nothing really deeper to be thought about, but if you want a sense of perspective, just draw a circle. Just take your life and be like, where have I drawn a big circle? And do I want to do that again? Do I like how things went the first time around? Because you can keep going. You can go crazy places, but you can't be saved. You can't be transported to another dimension. Like all your problems can't be solved. You can go on the wildest trip and you'll still end up right back where you are. Like some time will have elapsed. That's for sure. think that's why I like creation so much. It's like, even if I'm gone, someone can point to that thing and be like, yeah, Benny made that. Yeah, Benny drew this. Oh, Benny said that. Like, yeah, even like a hot take, piping hot take on the new Lord song or whatever. That's a creation too. People don't think of it like that, because I feel like certain types of creations, like for example, hot takes, is like kind of trite, kind of easy to make, just like taking a thoughty Instagram photo. It's like, yeah, you get results, but is it art? I feel like it blurs the line, you know? And that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I'm always in the spot where the line is very blurry and the area is undefined. I'm more interested in that. Like, memes, much, much better than whatever dialogue that, like, young minds have on art. Like, it's nice that people are still learning about the history and stuff, but like, you know, that person who takes like an art history class and then they're suddenly the authority on like contemporary art. They're like, yeah, this is why AIs are so harmful to the industry. Blah blah blah. It's just funny, just hearing all these people's takes on what is and isn't art. They're out there on their Instagram reels being like, I gave up everything to be an artist. I like gave up going to this college to go to that art college. It's my life. You don't just have to be an artist. You could be an artist and also a Xanax dealer, or you like collecting weird shit like skulls or something. You know, everyone should strive to be more than one thing. So it's just kind of hilarious when people are like, yeah, I'm like a working artist, or like I'm like a singer-songwriter. I'm like, that's great. Like, you might as well be like telling me your D&D character. You'd be like, I'm a orc, or I'm a mage, or like I have a lute. Like, yeah, like, you know, you could just pick up a lute or pick up a calculator. You know, you could just be into something. You don't have to make it like your whole identity. I think that like young people think that if they just like put 100% into one thing, that they can just go on American Idol, like tryouts or whatever, and like just kind of like crush it until they like wherever they want to be. It's nice, like everyone's like having a good time, not trying to ruin anyone's time. It's just like kind of like watching children play house, but it's all adults like binge drinking and shit. It's like, what are you gonna do though? Like, the world is fucked. It might be fucked, you know? I can't tell you like definitively that we're gonna get out of this. I don't think that any sane or like well-informed adult could literally look you in the eye and confidently tell you that like things aren't fucked. Like, you know, like humanity will survive, but like a lot of people are already dying currently as we speak.
Yo, Nick.
You want to smoke out of the spaceship or the penis? You want to smoke out of the spaceship or the penis?
These don't work.
Christian made them.
Everything's
Ceramics
imaginary,
class.
especially this penis pipe. That's a weird thing to inscribe on. Look at
You
everything.
should ask
You
him
did
if
it.
he
I didn't-
used them, 'cause they
I didn't
were
fucking
ragged
do it.
them.
He already used this
No,
one.
that one's used.
So
Like
it
he
has
made them
ash.
to smell
Probably doesn't
better.
work though.
Oh, I didn't look. What?
This one's fine. We should use this one. Nothing. What was that? What was that? The ashes?
Yeah, I don't know if it was ashes or it was like pieces of like ceramic.
I love how he
Dust.
detailed the end to be white.
Why
That's
did he
what
do?
said.
Why did he do this? Like, what was he?
So much.
What did he
I
think
think
this
he
was?
thought it was supposed to be a mushroom or something. He was like,
No, you know, it looks like a fungus.
everyone has a plumbus in their house, but how are they made?
Then what does he say? Then you
Spleen.
cut off all the spleen.
And rub it in.
Okay, I don't want to hold this. This is suspect.
Let's do the spaceship.
Yeah.
What can we do to help them? I think spend less money, do more community-based activities. It's kind of a radical act of sustainability to just reduce your footprint by not existing as much as capitalism wants you to. Like, they want you to board a flight right now and go to college at the same time, you know? Like, they just want you to be in the system. I mean, the system is not, is the system that is pretty autonomous at this point. Like, I can't really see any reason to trust that it's gonna guide the way to the sustainable future that we really need on this planet. I think that it's like a branch of an organism that needs to be like kind of shunted off, you know what I'm saying? Like shunt away. Anyway, like I just wrote it. I think I mentioned it earlier. I wrote, art is meant to change. So think about that. It's like, raise yourself above that person that's just like, what does it mean? Like it's like, why are you staring at a painting of a square or a tree or a whatever and being like, what does that mean? It's like, it means whatever you want, but like, can it change you? Does the search for meaning change you in some way? Do you make some realization that you can never forget? You know, like when you hear the right poem, it will resonate and you'll never unhear it. Like, you may forget the words, but like the feeling that's left inside you, that changes you a little bit. Even if it's just a little tiny bit. And it kind of completes the circle, really. Life and death and life and death and ghosts and angels and candles flickering, and it'll all happen for infinity. I actually wonder sometimes, how did I ever believe that the world was really ending? Like, I don't think I really did, but to the people who did, why is the word apocalypse thousands of years old? I think that we'll always feel like we're on the verge of something. In a way, the world is ending rhetoric, it's kind of narcissistic. It puts you at the center. It puts you in the position of being there, being in the most important part of humanity, like everything has led to here kind of moment, right? So you can see how it's like a self illusion. Like, you're only here for a little bit. You're not, like, whether or not the world's ending, like, you're still only here for a little bit. So, like, it's kind of irrelevant if it's ending, because it is for a lot of people. Like, I don't think the world isn't ending. Like, it's gonna be 100% replenished every 100 years or so, you know? Like, a whole new gang is there. No one from more, like, there's a couple chill ass motherfuckers who were able to somehow live for more than a century. But other than them, like, nobody was there. Everyone's new to this world because we're just tiny cells in this big wave, or like this big explosion of life that we have no control over, and there's no real stillness like in the human experience. There are moments of stillness, for sure. I think we recognize stillness when we see it. It even makes people uncomfortable if they aren't inclined to it. They won't want to be still or silent. And I think it's because we're in this microcosm of this big explosion of life. Like, feels like a lifetime to us, but just kind of a blip in time. There's no reason to value it above all else, but we're kind of stuck in the perspective of our own selves because, like, we're kind of chained to our bodies in a way. It's like Plato's cave, right? You just see a bunch of shadows and you mistake that for reality because that's the only thing you've ever seen is the shadows. I think that I identify with that very strongly, and I used to really believe. And what I mean is that I was so skeptical. I was skeptical like it was my job. You know, I would just try things like 10 different ways just so I could get it right, but then I kind of like didn't have as much fun the 10th time, even though it was better by whatever standard I had set for the outset. I'd be like, oh, like, I gotta, like, if I was writing a song, I'd be like, oh, I've gotta like play it flawlessly, and like I also have to sing it flawlessly, but I also have to do it at the same time. Like, I can't just like only be able to do one. Like, I'd be like, a good songwriter would just be able to do both like all the time, but like focus is focus. Like, if you put focus into like one thing, like if you just play guitar for like 3 hours and like you really like a part you came up with, and you're just like, you're gonna change it if you just try to sing over it. Like, you played the same part for 3 hours and they're like, all right, I'm gonna sing on top of it now. Like, good luck playing it the exact same way. It's always gonna be different than you expected. That's what I used to struggle with immensely, was like, I would have some vision for how I wanted like a drawing to look, and I would picture the whole entire finished vision onto the canvas, onto the paper. It didn't matter how big or small. I would come up with like a vision of what I wanted, whether it was a tree or like a person's face or whatever. Just like, my vision would supersede whatever I was actually drawing. So inevitably, like, my drawings would fall short of my vision because I could like, I had a big imagination, still do, but now I just feel like I draw and then I look. I draw and then I look. I don't look and then try to like nail it. Cause like, I don't know, maybe with a lot of experience it could be that way, but I think that there's always just going to be a little bit of chaos in the creation process. Like if you come up with a vision that's like really detailed and precise and specific, there's no way that like, unless you try it a bunch of times, that you can really execute your vision, but like in a way that kind of if it takes precedence over like what's actually happening, then you're gonna see like a waste of time if you don't, execute your vision. But like, I don't know, that's not the standards I'm trying to set when I'm drawing. I'm like, I'm gonna learn one thing about line work or shading or perspective. Like I'm gonna learn one tiny thing, and like that's a better mindset, like rather than like coming up with a vision or like making a plan or like one drawing a day or whatever. That's just like, you're just setting standards and rules. Like one drawing a day, like how boring is that? Like just draw because you want to draw, or like make one drawing and then the next day make like a million drawings. Like I can't stand people who are like, I'm gonna do one. Like I don't know, like it's just exhausting. Like all these plans. Just do something. Just show me something you made. Don't talk about something that you're making. Like just show me something that you made, or show me something you're working on. Like show me something. Don't just tell me about something. So many people it's like you might as well be telling me about your dream. Like I want something to like bite off and chew, like something that makes me think. Like if you're young and you talk a lot, like challenge yourself to listen to older people and other people, like maybe much younger people that you think maybe you know a lot more than them. Like no shit, like everyone knows a lot more than younger people, but like when's the last time you like actually listened to someone who's a lot younger than you, like talk about what they think, talk about how they see the world, like what's important to them, like kind of just sit them down and make them do tasks for us that we think are beneficial for their like learning. Definitely there's a place for that, but then I don't know, I just don't see much room right now in young people's kind of like worlds for like freedom of expression and just like feeling heard, and feeling like if they don't feel heard when they're kids, they're just gonna keep chasing that feeling when they're adults, and they're just gonna want people to pay attention to what they're saying. Just like be the person that listens, everyone likes that person. It's like not talking the loudest and like telling their story. And this comes from I have a lot of experience being that guy, and I don't know, not worse than anyone I can ever think of, but I feel like I talk a lot when I think I'm supposed to, or when I'm really excited about something. It's kind of, I don't really talk just to talk, which is why a lot of people talk. It's like they just want no silence. But I love silence. There's nothing like a good shared silence. If you want to share the silence with me right now? Sometimes I catch myself in conversations just trying to think of something else to say. Like going through a mental checklist of what I want to say to somebody. And I think that I'm using radio and making videos as kind of a release. Like I need to get all my thoughts out. Otherwise, they're just kind of bouncing around in my head. And it's fun when I'm stoked about the ideas, but a lot of time they're just nonsense and like, oh, I should ask this person for this favor. But like, I don't like the energy it gives me. Like, I know like if someone's about to ask me something, they come up to me and it's like, get rubbed the wrong way if I feel like they only came up to me to ask me something and then like, you know, like sometimes they pretend there's like a organic conversation. Oh, I just remembered, like I meant to add, like I like when people are upfront about it. Like, don't get me wrong, but it's like whenever I catch myself like making a checklist of what I want to talk about, or like even if I don't have anything specific to ask someone, it's like I feel like the real heart of the conversation, like you never know like what you'll ask someone if you just like express your true curiosities. Like just build some common ground about what you're curious about. Like even people who don't think they're curious will end up talking for ages about stuff they think is cool. Like, you know, like don't be one of those like, what are your hobbies? Or like, what are your interests? Like, come on. Don't do that. We're not robots, alright? Like, that's how we're gonna know the robots one day. From the humans, they're gonna say stuff like, is this somewhere you come often? Or like, just think for a sec. Like, just ask a better question. Just try to be more interesting. I don't think that's too much to ask of everyone, you know? Especially in this world where we're just like safe in our little like corner or bubble of technology and convenience and like stratification of like incomes. Like most of the world is literally just trying to eat most, and like I don't know, like those people don't give a shit about like, is AI good or bad? Like the hell, like everything's good and bad. Like, is a knife good or bad? This thing that ticks me off is like people are saying it's like the art industry. It's like there's no industry for art. It's like there's an industry for paintings, maybe. There's an industry for people who like putting value on things, but like, once you sell it, it's not art. Like, it's a painting. You can sell a painting, is what I mean. It's like you can't sell art. So art is the thing, is like when you look at a painting of a door, you're like, I wonder where that goes. Or like, I wonder what the artist was thinking, like, is that a door from their real life? Is that their house? Or is it Christina's world, for example? When I see that, I think, like, is that, my first thought was that must be his wife. It was. And, like, I think he wants you to know that. I think you're seeing things from this woman's perspective. And it's not a perspective that most people would get to see from, but he painted it just so that you could see the house and you could see the slope of the hill and how it looks like a gentle slope, but by the way she's crawling, you can tell it's not an easy task. Like, that's art, is that whole conversation you have with yourself when you see something. You're like, whether it's a good or a bad reaction, it's like the reaction is the art. So you can't commodify that. I can't sell you that. Like, but like, if it makes people talk, if it makes people like have that conversation, like, that is art. But like, just the types of conversations people have about their new lawnmower, that's not art. That's like, that's just people categorizing things. It's like, if you have a Monet or a Rembrandt or whatever, like, good for you, but just celebrate it. Don't kid yourself. Just just don't say something unless you're sure that you understand what you're saying. Like, don't be like, this is the best album, and you haven't heard like the whole album, or like, you're just gonna look like a fool, you know? Like, there's people who actually take the time to fully digest things and form like pretty complex opinions, and usually those people are too busy thinking about their fascinations to like try to like, you know, convince everyone else that artists they like are the best and they like the best stuff. It's like called like vocal minority. But yeah, I drew this wizard, so I surrounded him with birds because I saw this viral video of a guy who claimed that he could like summon birds, and he was like, ah, ah! And then a bunch of birds came, and it was kind of lit. But it could also have been a coincidence. But he acted like it was no big deal. Yeah. Those kinds of things I'm thinking about mostly is like, I wish I could summon birds just by calling, but oh well.
We'll see you in Boise, Idaho. This is a majestic house.
It's so good to read here. You know what?
Did you rip your shirt? I like it, actually.
I just love capturing those little moments. You never know how long it's gonna be until you get another moment with someone. So you don't have to record it, but just appreciate it.
Good, you got everything?
That's my advice. Got everything I need right here.
Yeah.
Tani.